This episode, I'm going to share with you exactly how I create my client Facebook ads in less than 2 minutes. I'm going to reveal to you the exact form that we've been using behind the scenes to really help our client have the ad strategy ready in less than 2 minutes. This form is going to not only give you the right structure to use when it comes to deciding how to optimize your ads, but also understanding which type of audiences to tap into that are the most likely to go ahead and enroll into your webinar, purchase your offer, sign up for your call. All above the audiences, but also understanding which type of creative using, whether it's a video ads or images that they even what type of copy, because the messaging is everything. If you want your ad to perform at a higher level, especially on Facebook and on Instagram. So this is like creme de la creme when it comes to helping you really fast track your ability to create ads on Facebook and Instagram in the easiest, most flexible way possible. And this prompt will give you the ability so you can use it actually, whether that you are more familiar with ChatGPT, Gemini, or Claude, and see which one gives you the best result. What I like to use that actually like to use it on all platforms and just see how can I actually combine the results to even have something even more powerful. So without any further ado, I'm gonna share my screen and show you exactly how it looks like. If you are listening to the podcast, this is one of those episodes where you actually want to come and watch the video because it's just gonna be that good. But I'm going to do my best to give you as much insight if you're listening. So just stay with me. If you are watching for the first time, my name is Joly Tematio, and for the past half a decade, I've been behind the scenes of some of the biggest launch in the personal development industry. I work with high personality brands, coaches, experts, consultants, really helping them propel the income, the impact using the power of paid media. And that's what we've been doing all day, every day with the team. We've had clients scale the business to $800,000 a month, $1 million a month, $200,000 a month. It's been a beautiful journey. And in this platform, I really like to come back and share with you what's working right now so that you are not left guessing, how to make the best out of your ad spend. Because typically when you spend money on marketing, um, compared to organic marketing when you spend money on advertising specifically, it's a little bit of anxiety and you want to have an ROI ASAP, which I understand. That's why I've created this platform where you can really come and really have the right resources to learn and stay on the edge of what's actually working right now. That being said, let me share my screen and show you how this powerful. Like it's extremely powerful. It's something that we've been using for the past 2 years behind the scenes, and we should find it and find it and find it over the time so that it looks, it's more and more powerful. And as I go through it, you're actually going to understand why it is so powerful. So this is, and I'm going to have this file available for you to download this entire master prompt in the description of the video on the show notes, right? So you can actually go through them, just copy and paste and of course update it for your audience and your offer specifically. Now, in this case, because it's going to be shown by or share with thousands and tens of thousands of people, I actually used a name of a thought leader out there that's very similar to the type of guy that we work with, which is Nisa Nicole, right? So how it looks like the prompt is actually start with you're an expert, Facebook ads, strategy specializing in coaching and consulting. I need to create a compelling Facebook ad structure for the client. This is very important because typically when you go to AI or you go to ChatGPT or Claude or whatever you are using, you say, hey, create me a Facebook ad copy for this offer. Typically what you get is a really subpar result. Why? Because you haven't really prompted the identity of the tool. So you actually always want to start by giving them an identity so that they actually have a frame of reference when it comes to giving the output. That's very key. And now after that's done, we go over the client information. That's what you want to. Here I've added my client is Lisa Nicole, but here you actually want to add in your CDs packets, right? Because you want to add in your offer, your company name, your industry, your market audience, who do you actually serve, and the more specific you are, the better it is. So if you have a tree that audience, ask yourself who is actually the best, that gets the best result, the fastest, that has the money to pay, and plug it in here. In terms of budget, you plug how much you are planning to spend. what your offer is, exactly what you offer, what's the USP, what's your price point. Again, these are all of the elements which are going to be needed or that are going to be used by the AI to come up with different marketing angles that are designed to attract the caliber of client that you actually want in your programs. If you are selling, for instance, a community or membership program for $35 a month, it's going to be different. Like the message is going to be different and someone that's spending like that's selling like over 20K, like a mastermind or coaching program, for instance. Now that's done, we have the client information, we dive into the client objective. What are you actually trying to do? Are you trying to get more awareness through your content? Are you trying to get more qualified leads, appointment schedule, sales call? And what's the destination? So for instance, if you're trying to get leads, are you just sending them to a VSL? I mean, are you just sending them to an opt-in page? And from the opt-in page, they just, that's all you want to do? Or do you actually want them to sign up as a lead and then watch it with you now, watch the VSL schedule call? The better you kind of outline your sales process and what your customer journey looks like, the better the campaign objective is going to look like it should. So I really want you to have clarity here in terms of it. What do I want these guys to do as I'm launching this campaign? That's critical. Um, and that's typically what sometimes people we somehow kind of want to do something, but their campaign objective is online the business objective. So they kind of hit a wall as they launch, ads by themselves. So I want you to pay attention to that as well. Now, that's just setting up the machine, the chat. Now I want to move on to what's the campaign structure. Yeah, we are really creating a table here where we have, campaign name. This is just for organization purpose, but you have clarity in terms of which account you are working on. But you can also see we have several offers. So you have like we can have specific and we can have like clients in terms of which offer I'm trying to push with ads. So I can go back and see which one's performing the best and how the KPI actually look like, right? So here we have created these are instructions that we use to AI, right? Table name, campaign overview, campaign name is like client plus, what the campaign objective here, the budget we have set up up there, um, platform, start date, tracking, of course, we won't have the pixel install and the conversion optimization as well of install. Now, once that's done, that's our structure right now. Next thing is our audience table. This really the meat and of the campaign, your audience, your targeting. Here, what I've done is actually giving you one because you want to have as much flexibility as possible when you launch your campaign. You need to have a framework because as you launch, typically your hypothesis rarely ends up being what works. And so you need to be prepared. Okay, if this doesn't work, what do I do next? How do I pivot? And that's the reason why we structure this in this way, where you're not kind of putting all of your bet on one audience and if it doesn't work, and you're like, oh my God, you haven't purchased Facebook, I don't work on my business, right? Yeah, when we actually have it starting with, okay, each audience will have an ad set name, the daily budget that we are using, the target audience range, gender, all the good things, right? And now we have also detailed targeting. Now, detailed targeting is really interest based right here, where we want to be very specific in terms of the interest that really align with our offer, with our target market that really reflects where they hang out, who they follow, what they read. And here we really specifically ask the AI to give us interest that are available in the AI Ads Manager because these typically tend to get refreshed and some of them move out, of the backend on Facebook Ads Manager. And we also ask for a lookalike audiences which are really powerful and that I see a lot of people not using, and that are usually just low hanging fruits. If you have past purchasers, email lists, sales call schedule, you can have like of those type of audiences. And we also add an exclusion because you don't want to bid against yourself once you launch your campaign. So we've added exclusions that these that don't actually overlap, right? And now in terms of requirement for our audience, so these are going to be completely different from one another and focus on interest based and also include one broad audience because we always like to test broad against interest and see which one perform the best. Now, after we have our, so that gives us 6 audience group, right? Once that's done, we then move on to our ad creative. That's it, after Meta and Homeda, which was launched last in Q3, end of Q3 of last year. There's a there's more, there's a bigger importance around your creative. And that's really, the creative is the new targeting, in the sense that they can actually make or break your campaign. And the reason why this is structured in this way is because we want to have as much creative as possible. So going with 6 audiences and 3 creative at each audiences, we're actually going to end up here with 18 variations. So here's on we're gonna have 6 audiences, so that we're gonna have 5 interest-based plus 1 pod, right? That's 18. And so for each of these audiences, or in the table right here, you want to have ad name. We like to set them up where the ad name is the audience plus the hook plus the CTA. Ad format, we like a combination of images and video ads, gift as well. Hook, right? Write the hook, write the primary sentence using herself, for instance, AIDA framework. Headline, again, because those are, and description, 90 character, using the pattern interrupt principle. Call to action, we can test different one, like register now, learn more, download, depends on which offer we are specifically pushing, and then the landing page URL. Now, in terms of ad copy requirements, what do we want? That was just a structure. We want here to have different variation of the ad copy. So one that leads with scarcity and urgency, one that's like social proof and authority positioning, and one has like a transformation promise, and even that highlights a problem, a pain point. Because when you're selling in transformation as a coach, a consultant, an expert, it's really key that you are able to highlight the pain point, the frustration, right, that your target market has currently. But you don't want to stay there, because if you are selling them from a place where they are stuck and they feel bad about themselves, you are typically going to you are going to lose a lot of market share. What you want to is masterfully combine the pain point with also the desire, the dream, the goal, right? That's why we also like most of it. We want one that's tap into the pain point, and one that's into the promise as well. And so we address the 5 specific pain point, 5 specific biggest desire of the audience, and we also want to include power words. Want to include power word that resonate with that audience, and again make sure that it sound human and genuine. And we have also creatives not here that we want the AI to keep into account as it goes through this process. And for the 4th point is really around the budget. Depending, we had a budget initially, we define your budget right, and you say, okay, this how we like to test for 7 days, and then we like to stabilize, and then we like to scale. But by stabilizing, I really mean here looking at the numbers, looking at the data after the testing phase, and understanding how are we doing, where are the biggest bottleneck, and what do we need to do right now to get even better results. So that's something that's key. A biggest mistake that I see a lot of founder make is, especially online experts, is to go from testing to scaling, right? As soon as they get some result, they like say, okay, let me put more money into this thing. But I haven't really had time. The campaign hasn't really had time to stabilize in terms of result, especially if you're launching a new campaign. Even after 7 days, you start getting result. I want you to be really cautious in how fast you're pushing the budget, because if you just go from spending $100 a day to say $700 a day, because the budget got great result, you can actually reset the entire algorithm and start from scratch. And I've made an episode where I talk about how to scale. Hopefully, I'm going to have that in the show note or in the description for people. Okay. So then we have the formatting requirement, and that's our pump. It's a lengthy one, to be honest, but again, it's going to make your life so much easier. So I'm going to copy and paste it just as it is on Claude to show you how it looks like. I'm gonna just click on send, and I'm going to send in Gemini Pro. My favorite tools to use really are Gemini, and Claude. I'm not really, my sound completely, but I'm not a huge fan of ChatGPT because I just feel like the result that I'm getting on Claude, Gemini, or even from Microsoft Copilot, um, better too. So I've actually had that on ChatGPT that these are the results that I got. So we can compare how it looks like on Claude as well and on Gemini. So just look at GPT, how it, what came out once I just copy and paste the prompt, and this is what it looks like. So we have campaign, and the result is actually brilliant. As you can see, it's a whole strategy that we've got here. If you look, okay, Claude is still thinking. That's why I did it first on. Okay, Gemini is also still thinking. So let's look at the outcome of ChatGPT. Okay, so here it starts with so we have our first step, which is structuring our campaign, right? With a goal and all the things: conversion, Facebook, IG, placement, bid strategy, everything. Now, section 2, which is the audience table. Here we have our 5 audiences: coaches, personal coach junkie, entrepreneurial women, business builder. Again, remember that here we are talking about these and goals and the target audience. Yeah. So that's the framework that you use here. Content consumer, podcast, event, established coaches that are looking to scale. And we have here a daily budget for each ad set based on the monthly budget, age range that's most likely to buy, gender, we have one that's really specific on focuses on women, and geography is really one here with US, Canada, and Australia because she's an English speaking um, authority. That's where most of her target audience is based. Now, these were kind of like audience ad set names. And in terms of the detailed targeting, which interest specifically to go after for each of these ones, you have them right here. So Tony Robbins, Bob Proctor, Mind Valley, digital marketing for the business builder, click funnel, online business, coaching business mastermind is quite very, very interesting. Even in terms of lookalike, half of them can go over 1% and 3% lookalike engager, website visitor, email list. They haven't mentioned here buyers. I will definitely prioritize lookalike of the buyers, people that have scheduled a call and were qualified but didn't purchase, maybe didn't purchase for whatever reason. Lookalike of those that actually were on the checkout page but didn't buy, because those again are the warmest that the most likely to actually pull the trigger. And I love the exclusion here because you always want to exclude audience so that there is no overlap. And you also want to exclude past buyers, past leads, that they are not seeing the same ads, especially past buyers. If it's a lead campaign, you want to exclude past lead, but if it's a conversion, you also want to exclude past buyers. That's for the audience categories. Now, moving on to the creative table, which is actually quite interesting. That's where we have our variation. So for every single one of the audiences, we have 3 different ad copies. So we have a hook, primary text, headline, and description right here. Okay. So and creative button interrupt, authority teaching on stage. Something that you want to realize here is that this is really good at a starting point, right? Because at least it gets the juice flowing. And you might realize that the primary text is quite short. So here it says, you are meant for more impact. A limited seat 1.2 can change everything. 1,000 transform. So these are good, but again, it's not as juicy as it could be because we didn't really need much info to begin with, right? So it makes sense. What we like to do, I would definitely not run this ad copy because it's just too dry. What I would do, I would go back to drawing more than ads, the offer, whether that's the content of the page, a deeper dive in terms of her target audience, pain point, frustration, desire for the offer specifically, and come put something that's actually a whole lot more longer form, more juicy, more storytelling, because in order to sell, you need to be able to storytell in a powerful way. So that's what's missing, which is normal because we haven't given, remember, we haven't really given any offer, we just gave a name. of the client right here. So the AI input is also limited by the context that we've given them. So adding all of those additional elements is going to give you an even more powerful answer. So for every single audience here, that's what happened. We have now different angle, different primary texts, which is really good. Business builder, here we have learn how elite coaches build predictable income. You need better positioning and pricing. You don't need more clients. Six-figure is in strategy, scaling. So it's actually quite good. You haven't heard, yeah. So that's for audience four. And finally, we have budget allocation. That's how it looks like. And then optimization. Now let's look quickly at how. Uh, so this is what we have for Claude. Let's see. Let's look. I really want to look at the copy and see if we got something more interesting over here. Okay. Let's see. Files to download. Let's see. All right. Okay, so we have aspiring coaches. We have established coaches. Yeah. United States, yeah. So we have very similar. The older young woman entrepreneur, course creator, corporate professional, that's this is a good one. This is a good one. Yeah, we didn't have this one. Hard warm believer, okay, amazing. It's also really good. And now let's look at the copy. That's what I'm really interested in. Okay. Most coaches stay stuck at 100K or you're different. You've built something really, you've changed life. Okay, perfect. Okay. Again, you hear the AI really had to go and guess an offer. We need to add the offer. And when you do it at home, just add your offer so that you know exactly how to wrap the messaging around the offer specifically. Remember when you first discovered to change life. Okay, this is really good. We've been getting ready for years, not motivation, but it's more clarity. While if your life is your go-to moment, this is something which that means Nicola would actually say. So this is Claude. I like the copy of Claude a whole lot better than ChatGPT. She was terrified to call herself a coach. Now she's booked solid. Okay. Well, this is like a testimonial angle, which I love. I would always like to leave the testimonial when you add for client. Now let's look at Gemini real quick. I really want you to see this because sometimes we get stuck on one platform and we just refuse to try different things. But I like when I'm using AI tool, I'm really attached to the tool itself. I'm obsessed with the method. I'm obsessed with what's going to give us the biggest leverage for the input that we give it, because that's also what helps our client get amazing results. Of course, once these things are done, we go back, we really amplify them, we make tons of tweaks, but it at least it gives you a solid starting point. You are not starting from a blank page. Now, Gemini, let's look at what we've got here. Primary text. Hope this is for everyone, for those who are ready to lead. Beautiful. Most coaches say leading because they think the market is still, it's not. The world is starting for a specific story, but talent alone won't get you on the global stage. You need a blueprint. We are opening 5 stages of my high ticket mastermind. Exact framework I used to go for how to reach a million. Stop guessing. Click now. This is quite good. Um, so let's check another one, the transformation one. So this says I had 12 people in my bank account that wouldn't die. They told me I was too much. They said my story didn't matter. I had an epiphany. Your story isn't just it's your currency. Mhm. When I learned how to package my pain into powers, everything shifted. I went from public assistant to running public company. Uh, Really good. So there you go. Budget allocation, that's what it came up with. Um, yeah, so that's actually how using AI as a starting point when you're working with time. You can see the matter of the couple of minutes. You have so much data that can actually like you know, fast track your abilities to get an amazing result. If you have any question in the comment section below, if you want my team and I to come in and help you really as a consultant, skyrocket your ability to see better results with paid media, help you really either keep your team accountable or even teach you and train your team what's working right now so they can develop their abilities to perform and they can have at a high level. Reach out, go to dragonconsulting.co. It'll be a pleasure to learn about what you do and see if they see fit. We also have more hands-on approach sometimes or specific line where we actually come in and we build and implement collaboration system at the time to really help people scale their income. I will see you on the next one. Until then, keep on scaling, keep on learning.